It's like, just go do it. You can do whatever you want. There's nobody here. You can do whatever you want.
It's actually funny. Before last week, actually, I reached out to Actors Theater and got the archival video because I wanted to just kind of, watch it again and refresh my memory because it's been so long, right? And one of the quotes I wrote down was, I believe Kenny said this in that ice cream scene, and he said, I should be allowed to be scared instead of always fixing things. And I feel like a lot of people feel that way.
Welcome to GayTalk 2.0, the ultimate podcast for your dose of dish.
Good evening, ladies and gents, and welcome back to another episode of GayTalk 2.0, an LGBT podcast. We're streaming live on GayTalk20.com/live stream, and you can access that live stream by visiting GayTalk20.com/live stream. My name is Tom, and I am your host, and as always, I'm in the studio with my amazing co-host, starting with the first one.
Hey, y'all, Nick or Trish.
And
J-Bear, a.k.a. your boyfriend's boyfriend.
And welcome you all to the dish. I want to start things off before we move on into anything else by saying happy summer solstice. It is officially summer. Today's the 21st. It is the longest day of the year, the shortest night of the year. And I hate to, break it to you, but it's all downhill from here. So we start losing daylight hours.
Unfortunately, the weather hasn't been cooperating either. It's been chillier than... It hasn't been Juning like most Junes.
I love it.
It actually hasn't been too bad. It really hasn't been too bad.
They're claiming we're supposed to have maybe weather in the 90s in a day or two, but I don't know.
I will take it.
Yeah.
I will take it.
I know.
Usually at this time, we'd be in the pool. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Get a heated pool. This is the weather I want.
It ain't. No, I don't mind the cool air at night, but it's not Juning correctly.
Yeah. It's not Juning. Well, I mean, a lot of people don't realize too that summer officially doesn't start until the 21st, so it is seasonably possible to have cooler weather in the earlier parts of June.
Look, I wore a tux at Gala, and I was so worried I was going to be a sweaty fucking mess. And I wasn't.
Nope, neither was I.
Literally, I'm thanking the Gala gods. Like
the Gala gods.
Honestly, it should be like that all the time.
That's a thing. The Gala gods.
Yeah, the week running up to Gala, I thank them a lot.
Well, that's all right. we shall worship them. It's all we have to say. But anyway, we are back. We have an awesome dish, as we have said before, or at least as I promised. I would try to bring you, good news stories and happy feel good stories. So got a couple of those lined up for you guys later on. But before we do that, we're going to do our round table. And I'm going to toss it over to Trish. He started last time, so it's up to you. How are you, Trish?
Gaily happy.
I'm
fine.
Yeah. You were having an emotional moment earlier before we went live.
I was.
Tell us a little bit about why you were going through your emotions.
Yeah, so we opened the podcast with a clip from This Queer Book Saved My Life, which is another podcast. We had them on our show to talk about their podcast and what they do. And then I ended up going on their show to talk about a queer book that really impacted my life. And that was a little snippet from it. You should all check it out. We'll put the links on the post later tonight, but I think it's thisqueerbookSavesMyLife.com.
Yeah, we'll definitely put the link on it and make sure that you guys can access the episode.
But we've been waiting for a while for it to release. It finally did.
It did, yeah.
And before the show, I was listening to it so that I could remember what the fuck I said. And I got a little teary. It was really good. They did a great job.
They did a beautiful job, and the audio was great, and the episode itself, I'm sure, is going to be fantastic when I do listen to it. I'm excited. I can't wait. But I'm happy that you did it because it gave you an opportunity to be able to have a conversation about, you know, something that was so pivotal in your life, right?
Yeah.
You had an opportunity to sit down and talk about something that impacted your life in a positive way, that made you, in a sense, the person you are today.
Yeah, but I also think, you know, it's really important too is I feel like writers and authors, the stories that they tell, reaffirming that they do matter and they do make a difference.
Right.
Whether it's one person or a million. What you put on the page, what you write down, it can make a huge difference in someone's life, or it can be detrimental.
Either way, right? It can go any which way, you know. And I'm a firm believer that I believe that your path, right? So a lot of people believe in destiny. I believe in choice. I believe in the power of an individual self, taking something that could be either good or bad and deciding how they want to move forward with that, right? You have that power. No one can take that from you. And so when you start listening to a podcast like This Queer Book Saved My Life, you are listening to people who had an experience with an author, who changed the course, right? As a result of that play, as a result of the writing, as a result of the content, they made a conscious decision to go in a different path that ordinarily they wouldn't have taken had they not listened to or experienced that work from someone. And that is powerful because it means that you have the ability to take control of who you are as an individual and your future.
Yep.
Right? So
and
beautiful.
To be clear, it's thisqueerbook.com.
Thisqueerbook.com.
Yeah.
There you go. So check it out. So I'm happy you did it. Anything else going on in your life?
Yes, but I'm not going to put it out there on this podcast today.
Okay. So are you happy that gala's over?
This podcast might end your life.
Yeah.
If you put it out there.
No. You know, the accounts. So we had a meeting today at work.
Oh no, never mind.
And the accounts manager today after the meeting said, you know, I've got a lot of personal stuff going on in my life, and sometimes when we have intense conversations, I just want to walk away. And I did feel like that at work, but when I say that, there's some stuff going on in my life. My sister got engaged.
Oh, congratulations.
This happened yesterday, so I'm super happy for her, and that was my first thought. But my second thought was, motherfucker, you've been married, you've been divorced, and then you've been engaged 2 times, and I can't even lock down a man for a month.
She's still single.
Girl, bite the bullet. Talk to that guy.
Which one?
Who else? Your coffee guy. Your coffee mate.
I know.
Your coffee mate.
Starbucks. Actually, did I tell you about my business card?
Yes.
Okay,
Yeah,
so
what
that happened. No, I my business card fell out of my pocket. But all that to be said, I'll probably go get coffee tomorrow, and we'll see what happens.
That's it.
Well, you just make sure that, you know,
You're like, hey,
he knows.
I was just wondering if you'd like to go out for coffee and maybe get engaged. No.
No, literally. I love it.
I can't.
No.
Icebreaker. That's an icebreaker.
No, just like all of our listeners, all 5 of you.
All
2,
5 of you.
3, I don't know how many. Just put it out there. Like, Nick needs a little dick. Come on.
Just
Not a little
bit.
dick.
Just a little dick.
Like a dick.
He needs
It
something.
needs a little something.
He needs to get pounded out. Jay-Bird, how are you?
Another question. How was Father's Day?
It was fine.
You talked to Dad
Of course I talked to Daddy.
and your bro?
I talked to my bro the day after because it was his birthday and I couldn't get a hold of him the day of Father's Day. But it was fine. It was good. My father had a good Father's Day. I sent him. Oh my God, that motherfucker.
Oh boy.
I sent him. So my brother now has a daughter, and my sister just got engaged.
Yeah.
And my dad is like all about the 2 of them, and I'm like sitting over here in the corner, like, I fucking flew down there how many fucking times to help you when you were broken? How many fucking times? And I sent him a gift, and the gift was like an insulated mug that said, "Your favorite child bought you this," or something like that for Father's Day. And he sent a picture to my sister, and I'm not joking,
Oh my God.
of the mug, and said, "Thank you so much."
Oh, he. Oh,
and I honestly, he knew it was from me.
Oh, Carl,
So I
you have
think
no
he was
idea
just
what you
trying to
started.
incite shit.
Yeah.
But I was just like, "Are you fucking kidding me?"
Carl, you have
And
no
my
idea what
I don't
you
know
started.
if my sister knows that my dad was joking, but at the same time, like, it was a little hurtful because he even called me up and he's like, "I just got Amanda's gift." And I'm like, "Okay, Carl,
Okay,
Oh,
Carl.
he's in trouble now. You're in big trouble, Mr.
don't
Carl.
get any more surgeries where you need me to fly down and help you."
Oh,
You're gonna be
boy.
all on your own.
That actually paid off, though. Oh, I will say that.
Wow. Agreed.
Thanks, Mom and Dad.
So, Jay Bird,
Hey.
over to you.
Over to me.
How was your daddy's
Happy
day?
Father's Day.
Thank you.
Happy
It-
Daddy's Day.
It was very low key. I really didn't do anything. I got 2 shirts, one of them being this, a ring, and I got a foot massager.
a foot
A
massager.
foot massager
Have
from
you
one
tried
of the
it?
girls. Not yet.
Did you stick it in yet?
Not yet. But it was low key. I spent the day with Mom. Everybody was trying to figure out what they wanted to do with me, and the whole, "What do you want to do? We're gonna come over and we can have a picnic." And I'm like, "No, that's just work for me."
Yeah, exactly.
Because I don't like nobody fucking with my grill. So I know
So
they'll all start cooking, and I kind of just nudge my way in. And I was like, I'm not feeling like working for Father's Day, so I would just kind of postponed
yeah.
everything.
Unless you're gonna have it catered. No.
Yeah.
Well, it's funny because the day before Father's Day, so Saturday, I called my dad and I was like, "Well, what are you doing tomorrow?" And he told me his plans, and he's like, "And your mom just doesn't get it. Like, they wanted to go out to this sushi place and whatever and go with Amanda." And my mom was like, "Oh, well, let me call and make a reservation." And my dad was like, "You don't have to make a reservation for Father's Day. It's not Mother's Day. No one gives a shit."
Oh,
It's true.
is he
though.
wrong though?
Well, there was this whole thing that came out where, I don't know, I think it was on MSNBC, but they were talking about how much the American people will spend on Father's Day versus Mother's Day. And it was
yeah.
like a huge difference.
Right.
And my dad was like, "Yeah, checks out.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, but you also have to keep in mind too. I mean,
If you don't send something to your mother, you're fucked."
Your father just stuck it in and contributed. Your mother had to carry you for 9 months and push you out her vagina.
Valid.
Valid.
That's
That
valid.
hurts.
Jay pushed them all out of his vagina.
Vaginas.
Yeah. All 4 of them.
But no, but I mean, so I mean, I could see. I mean, I didn't have a relationship with my father, so I can completely understand how my mother would totally get, first dibs on everything. I took her to the casino for Mother's Day. She spent my money
Well,
resourcefully.
She had fun.
Yeah, she did. She always has fun when she goes to the casino.
Yeah, but yeah, it wasn't too bad. We chilled. So it's also my nephew's birthday on Father's Day. So my youngest sister.
How selfish of him to
Yeah.
be born on
I
Father's
know,
Day.
rude.
So they cut a cake for him. So I ended up just taking Mom over and hanging out with them. So my sister, she tried to kind of cater to me a bit. Here, cooked. I cooked. Here, eat. I just don't stick around long because she has 5 cats. And
Oh, God, no.
I'm allergic. So, but I still hung out like 2-3 hours with her, and then
You're such a horrible bisexual man.
Yeah.
How could you be allergic to pussies?
yeah.
First of all,
I don't get it.
well, I'm not bi, but cats gotta go.
Eh.
Yeah, no.
Literally, that's
I
like,
like them. They're cute, but I can't. My
they're
eyes
cute.
swell up, and
I can't deal with cats. Though.
I need to see.
yeah. I've told that story on the show. when
And
I
it's
was
not that
dating,
I'm
yeah.
not a cat person. I love kitties. I pet
They're
everybody
cute.
else's cat. I just can't deal with a cat in my house.
I gotta. Yeah, I have a very
Nasty.
limited timeline around cats, and then I start breaking out. So
Yeah.
Yeah, cats are too independent for me. I want to chase you and be like, pick up your shit. They're like, no, I'll go on my own. Thank you. I was like, no, nobody's got time for that. I need you to just,
Yeah.
let me take care of you.
Yeah.
Well-
It's the Puerto Rican woman in me.
yeah,
Well, you're also spoiled too because your dogs are codependent.
yeah.
Codependent.
They
That's
they're
putting
like,
it kindly.
Yeah, they're like appendages.
Yeah, pretty much.
This weekend, like this has got, I feel like, gotten worse with Fitz, but this weekend I was here and I tried to go outside and keep Fitz inside. And normally with me, he's pretty good.
Right.
But lately, he's been nipping at my feet.
Oh, yeah.
And
He don't give
at
a
one
shit.
point, I straight up was like, Tom, I'm over here. I'm like, no, you need to be over here because I want to come outside and I cannot.
So the problem is,
because you were doing the yard work.
well, we were doing all the things in the yard. The problem is that if he's on the other side of the door and I'm on the other side of the door, and you're trying to come in through that door,
I've experienced that at the
to
gate
where
several
I am,
times. Yeah.
he's not going to let you. He's like, no, my father's out there. You can't go there.
Yeah.
And he starts like getting crazy. He doesn't bite. So Fitz doesn't bite. He doesn't. He pretends.
He nips.
He kind of gnaws at you.
Yeah,
and,
like you can feel it, but he would never like clamp.
Right.
Yeah.
Like honestly, I just think he's just being a bitch. He's just being like, you know what? I'm just going to show you my teeth and hope that, I scare you a little bit.
That's kind of like a Puerto Rican chancleta compared to a belt.
Exactly. Like he feels like, okay, I'm going to intimidate this person. This is how I'm going to do it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, because at first you're like, oh shit, he tried to bite me. But then if you actually leave your hands there,
he doesn't do anything.
it's kind of like a, get away.
And to be fair, like I would say 75% of the time, he really just wants to like bounce and run and go bark at something.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
So it's not really about you, but it is about you. Like
Yeah.
he needs to have like one. He's like
He's protecting.
He's like
Yeah.
Mad Eye Moody,
Yeah.
like one eye on
Yeah.
him.
Right. Exactly.
He's like, look, Dad, I'm protecting you. I'm
And
barking at everything.
but I'm fine. I'm right here.
Squirrel.
Yeah.
Boom, gone. But those are dogs. So, oh God, what did I do in the past 2 months?
What did you do? No.
I finally finished my patio. Almost.
Your addition.
My
your
addition
patio.
to my existing patio. So I added an additional 16 feet by 10 feet of my patio, of an existing patio. I added more to it. And it involved building a retaining wall. It involved, putting crushed stone in there and stone dust and the new pavers that I bought. And oh my God, I texted Nick and I said, listen, if I ever get an idea like this again, just punch me in my face. Just snap me right out of it. I have a newfound respect for people who do masonry work. It is not fun, especially under the sun. I have a really good tan, so if you can see.
Farmer's tan.
I can take my tank top off right now, and it'll probably seem like I still have my shirt on.
Mm-hmm. So what happened was
What
you
happened
texted
was-
me and you were like, if I ever get another idea like this, do me a favor and punch me hard in the face.
Yes, exactly.
And I said, I won't punch you, but I will shut it the fuck down.
And then I said,
She doesn't care. She still goes ahead and she does it because once she gets an idea stuck in her head,
Oh yeah, no, there's no
Yeah.
stopping her.
it's over.
And then she was like, well, I was thinking, and I said, oh
that's
God.
how it starts.
I said, oh God. And I literally sent her a gif of some guy punching another guy in the face and knocking him out.
But it's done. It's done. The only thing left, so it is 99.95% done. The only thing left to be done is to take the polymeric sand and put it in and shake it in there. So
And for our listeners, that's gay sand.
yeah, it has sticky
You put-
properties.
You put it on there and it sticks everything together. It seeps in. You can't get rid of it.
Exactly.
Gay sand.
It's like semen.
Oh,
Yeah, exactly.
nice.
And it
At
just
least something's getting.
you throw it down, you wet it a little bit, and it just gets sticky and hard. So
Put it in the cracks.
exactly, exactly.
Something's getting put in the cracks.
So that's all that's left, and then now I can then focus on planting and making it pretty and flowers everywhere because it was dusty and horrible and disgusting for the past 2 months.
By the way, thank you for letting me know that my pants had a hole in them. I was showing Jackie.
Your balls?
Almost my
She's
balls.
seen plenty. Trust me, it's okay. You'll be fine.
I didn't realize I wore broken pants to work today.
That's okay. It happens to us thick-thighed boys.
Girl.
Constantly rubbing your pants, literally just disintegrate
This
in
is
that
the
area.
third fucking pair.
I can't tell you how many jeans I go through.
But you know what? Thick thighs save lives.
They
Yes,
do.
yes, they do.
When you get smothered by them.
Mm-hmm.
in a good way.
Hey, some people want to die that way.
So, well, I mean, it's better than being in a submarine right now somewhere in the middle of the Atlantic Ocean, just trying to figure out whether or not they're going to find you in time.
FYI, the memes are flying left and
They're flying
right.
left and right, but it's kind of fucked up. I mean, we're talking about this little submarine thingamajiggy. It's like a little, 5-man vehicle where you can like literally lay your back against a curved wall, and they're all literally like there's no room for you to stand up in this thing. And these people are submerged miles underwater. They were going down to see the Titanic, the shipwreck of the Titanic, and they lost communication with their mothership. So this type of vehicle is usually tethered to a ship. They can't communicate with it, and they haven't been able to find it. So they have launched this huge, search and rescue. And, there's reports that people, that are out there with sonar equipment and all these different types of listening devices are hearing banging, but they can't find them. And they only have enough oxygen to last them 5 days. That's it.
Honestly, what happened was they got down to the Titanic. They found something very valuable, and they were like, gotta go.
Where'd they go?
They don't want people to know.
Maybe they found the heart of the ocean. You never know. She did throw it into the Atlantic.
I have that.
How did you get it?
It's been 84 years.
Well, that's true. No, but all joking aside, it's a serious matter. Regardless if they're billionaires, millionaires, whatever the case may be, it's a fucked up situation to be in. Dying by asphyxia is not that I would know by experience, but I would imagine it's not fun. And I hope that they find this vessel, and I hope that they can return them back to the surface safely. And y'all people out there with these memes, y'all evil. Y'all going to hell in a fruit basket. I'm just saying it's...
we might be following because some...
Yeah,
I'm right there.
Might be.
No, I mean, I've seen some fucked up shit. Like there was a picture of the actual vessel itself, and somebody literally just wrote a caption that said, like, somebody from inside the vessel saying, "Alexa, play Air Supply."
That's fucked.
It is.
So
it is. It's. I get it. We go into our little.
So can this thing not come out of the water? Like, is it stuck? Like, it doesn't. It's a submarine. It should come up.
Well,
in theory, I mean, do you come up when you blow?
Yeah, that's different.
Yeah, and
yeah,
weird
sometimes I have to come up for air.
It's weird because there's no rhyme or reason. There's no communication stating that they were having trouble. There's zero info as to what may have occurred. It's just they lost communication.
But it's important to understand that this is not a submarine that's autonomous, right?
Yeah.
It's not like a submarine that's self-sustaining where you can go down in this thing and be down there for months and you don't have to worry about anything and you only come up when you need to. This is a submarine or a vessel that requires the guidance of a bigger ship that's usually on the surface. So that they can descend. It's almost like, a tethered little robot or whatever. So I'm not sure how you lose something like this if it's tethered to the mothership, in a sense. But either way, it's a fucked up situation to be in. Billionaire or not, if I were down there, I'd be fucking panicking and, just thinking about ways to conserve oxygen.
And I haven't read a lot on it, but were they supposed to be there for a specific timeline?
So the trip is supposed to be 2 hours descending, 3 hours
in the
bottom looking at the ruins of the Titanic, and 2 hours to come up. So the total, they were saying in total shouldn't be no more than 8 hours.
8 or 9 hours,
give or take. To go descend, look, Titanic, wow, and then come back up.
Yeah, supposedly I know in one of the articles that I was skimming through, it did state that they're supposed to help. The people that paid to come along are supposedly helping collect data from the wreckage. So they're paying to kind of sightsee, but also to kind of help the crew. But even at that, I mean, that's
yeah.
That's scary. That's scary.
Well, I mean, there's a lot of things going on here, and all I can tell you is that these trust fund babies right now are probably like getting ready for payday, because most of the people that are down there right now are millionaires or billionaires. But nonetheless, regardless of who they are, what their status is, it's a fucked up situation to be in. Can you imagine? I'm like, you're down there and you're thinking to yourself, I'm going to die in this little thing and no one's going to get me in time.
Let's not.
Yeah. So, it's kind of fucked up. So, my heart goes out to them. I hope that they are found in time. It is day 3 at this point. I think they have, 2 days left worth of oxygen. Breathe lightly, and conserve your energy, because I don't know what their resources are as far as food, as far as water, as far as your body can just do so many different things when you don't have the things that you need to sustain yourself. So I just can't imagine. So stop it, people. Be nice. Be nice.
Too early.
Oh, that's me.
I was like, dun, 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 dun.
Yeah,
I thought
like,
the music was going to go.
my intro?
No. But anyway, so why don't we do this? We're 26 minutes in. It's perfect time to just take a quick pause. So we'll go on break, and when we come back, we're going to jump into the dish. We've got a few stories lined up for all you folks, and we'll be back. All right. Well, ladies and gents, welcome back from the break. I want to thank you all for allowing us to take that little break. It was important, needed. We needed to, just get all the good things, all the breaks. We're back. So, we're going to jump into some of the stories that we have lined up for all you folks. Why don't you kick it off, Miss Trish? You have a very nice story that is very important.
Okay.
So this past Monday was the live stream ended. So guess what, people? If you're listening on the live stream audio, you get to still hear the show, but if you were watching it on video, technical difficulties, we're done with the video live stream. Anyway, okay. I'm still recording. I'll post it afterwards. So why don't you tell us a little bit about your story? I think it's very poignant because we just celebrated Juneteenth on Monday. It was June 19th, and it's important to understand Black figures in our community that have made significant impacts to our community that we may or may not have known about, right? So
yeah, I'm also kind of sick and tired of hearing people being like, "Oh, you get the day off because of that." Like, it's a fucking federal holiday now.
It is.
Like,
it is, and it's out of all the federal holidays, it is one that actually has a really deserving purpose and meaning. I mean, we're talking about the enslavement of millions of people that came to an end. And you have this entire group of people in the state of Texas that didn't know that happened until 2 years after the fact. And so, it's important, and it needs to be talked about, and it needs to be, brought to the forefront of conversations in our community, especially with everything that's happening with, Black and brown people in our community. I mean, we had to see a need to, for example, to put a black and brown stripe on the flag and create the equality flag or the inclusion flag because of the problems that we're seeing with members of our community that happen to be Black or brown. But anyway. Tell us a little bit about your story.
Yeah, so I mean, Juneteenth, it's a holiday that was derived from both when it was derived from June and 19, so Juneteenth, right? So it celebrates Major General Gordon Granger, who proclaimed freedom for enslaved people in Texas.
Right. I believe it was Galveston, right? If I'm not mistaken.
Yes.
Where this took place?
It was Galveston.
Yeah.
But the thing is, before the term came around and started, getting buzz, I didn't know what it was.
I did not know either.
And I empower all of our listeners to do a little research because it's really important to honor the holiday. There are a couple people of color on my board, and we had a meeting scheduled on Juneteenth, and a couple people reached out and said, hey, I won't be able to attend. So we ended up rescheduling and, just to be like, we want you there, whatever. But like when I went and put that on the calendar, I didn't even clock it.
Right.
And so like that is my ignorance. And so I, as an individual, need to take the time to learn and know what it is, know why it's important, and know why people celebrate it, and then also kind of like lift them up and celebrate with them.
Right.
But anyway, so we want to talk about it. It's an important holiday, but these are 3 Black and queer trailblazers.
She'll be all right. She got it.
You might not have heard of. So Pauli Murray, Annie Pauli Murray. She was a pioneer lawyer. She was alive from 1910 to 1985, and she was a civil rights advocate, an African-American woman, and a part of the LGBTQ plus community. Before the word transgender existed, Pauli's gender identity diverted from their sex at birth. So she was, a rock star and needs to be lifted up. I did not know who she was. And then we also have Gladys Bentley, and she was alive from 1907 to 1960, was a jazz singer and performer during the Harlem Renaissance of the 1920s and 30s. She made her breakthrough at Harry Hansberry's Clam House, a prominent gay speakeasy during the Renaissance. She identified as a lesbian. And lastly, Bayard Rustin. Bayard Rustin was alive from 1912 to 1987, was a civil rights leader who heavily influenced Martin Luther King's understanding of nonviolent activism, earning him the role of King's personal advisor and assistant.
So, interestingly enough, Bayard Rustin, they actually made a biopic of him. And the actor Coleman Domingo actually plays Bayard Rustin in the movie. I believe it's available, and it was released in 2023. It's available on Netflix. And you can watch his story, on Netflix and familiarize yourself with such a pivotal character for the civil rights movement that also happened to be a gay man, right? And, often...
An openly gay man.
Right. And often we speak of how anti-LGBTQ plus a lot of, for example, churches are. And especially, in the Black community, how very anti-gay religion can be, right? And to think that a reverend who is revered by many as, the father of our civil rights movement, seeking and receiving counsel from an openly gay man and taking that experience that this man, had in his life and using that to as a gateway to promote civil rights in this country was just incredibly powerful.
But also
to learn.
Taking a moment and recognizing that while openly gay, this man has so much to contribute and so much knowledge that can support Martin Luther King in every way. I mean, he was a personal advisor to the man. Of
course. And so, it just really goes to show you that, there's a lot of things that we don't understand when it comes to how religious views in the Black community interact or interject with LGBTQ plus folks in that community. And seeing this relationship and understanding how that worked and how he was influential in the way that Martin Luther King moved along his push for civil rights is really, really, really a very powerful, just thing to wrap your head around.
Yeah. And while I think religion does play a very important role in identifying, the homophobia and anti-LGBTQ support in that community, you can also speak to it as well, both you and Jay, because both in the Puerto Rican community as well as the African American community, it's also about machismo and like manliness and as a gay man coming out in that environment or in that culture, you're looked at as different, right?
Oh, very, very. Growing up for me, I knew that religion wasn't for me, and I knew that it wasn't for me because of what it stood for. My grandmother was a very religious woman, but she was also a very accepting woman. But not everybody had her level of caring, of understanding. Acceptance. She herself had a son that was gay, a daughter who was a lesbian. I mean, so this woman, I imagine, as loving as she was and as pivotal of a matriarch as she was, I don't think that she really understood the battles that she was battling between, loving her children and her grandchildren and being faithful and keeping religion, which she was heavily involved with, right? And I never for a moment doubted that my grandmother didn't love me or accepted me in any way, shape, or form. There was never a doubt, but I knew that there was conflict, and I knew that in the end, her love for her kids and her love for her grandchild, for myself, would always win, regardless.
I was having a conversation with a friend of mine who is Jamaican, and we were talking about, being gay and being Jamaican, and they basically said to me, a lot of people in the Jamaican community, depending on where you live, I'll say that much, won't come out because of their families.
Right.
Yeah.
And being accepted by their families, because family is so important. You know what I mean? And we talk about chosen family on the show all the time. And my family is very important to me. But there is this element of, for lack of better term, repression, where, you really relied in a lot of ways on your family. And in America, especially, it was always the white person putting down the person of color. And so you really relied on that like family connection. Right. And if you were to lose that, it means so much more than, for example, somebody who, like myself, who could probably figure it out and make it on my own.
There's a lot more to lose when you are a person that belongs to a minority group.
Exactly.
And we understand that because we're part of the LGBTQ+.
I hope I said
group.
that right, and I hope I don't get slammed. That was like, no, I walked around it hard. Like, I couldn't quite figure out how to like pinpoint what I was trying to say, but
no, it makes sense. I mean, it's difficult. I mean, you have the religion aspect on it, and you were talking about it, and the religion thing sticks out to me, especially with all the memes that I see during Pride Month, which is Happy Pride Month, sent to the effect to all the choir directors in all the churches, because
they tend to be queer people.
Yeah, they tend to be queer people.
Queer in arts, I'm telling you.
Queer in arts, and they're faithful to their faith and belief, and this is how they contribute. But yet, sometimes they have to sit through sermons that,
demonize them.
That demonize them. So,
it's heartbreaking, really.
I forgot which video it was, and it's been a while back, and it's one of these big pastors that was saying, who kind of brought that to light a few years back, and he stated, it's hard to sit here and preach sometimes, and you demonize a certain group of people for living a certain lifestyle, but when they're of use to you and what you need, you're willing to overlook those differences.
Right.
And he was talking technically about the choir instructors and the people that help the churches move along quite frequently, which
or have amazing sound and amazing music and so, bring the spirit of the Lord into into the space. You know, it's interesting because we have a mutual acquaintance, right? That
Sure.
I sing with often at the bar.
Yeah.
Who
Are they
is
tall?
Yes.
very tall.
Got it. Yeah.
Who happens to be a person that sings and directs the choir in church.
Yes.
Right. And, you know, I love this person so much. I think he's just an amazing human, very caring, very loving, always happy, super smart. He's got a doctorate in music, and, you know, he's a church going person. But, you know, he comes into the bar and he's just this complete different human being. And I say to myself, I feel pain in his conflict between his love for his religion and his love for who he is as a human.
Yeah.
And the fact that those two can't exist in the same space.
The thing is, they can, and they already do.
They do,
and there
right?
are plenty of gender affirming religion or spaces.
His religion is not one of them.
Right.
Unfortunately.
But there are plenty that you can go to. I mean, there is even one on the town green down here in New Haven. And I think that it gets to a point at which, you know, how far do you go with your, you know, sexual identity and religious identity without kind of trying to find the right place for you? So if you continue to sit in a place that's not affirming, because that's what you're used to, break the mold. You know, there are a lot of people in the LGBTQ community that will never let go of religion and that are looking actually for faith.
And there's nothing wrong with that.
There's nothing wrong with that, but
Right.
there are places where you can go and practice your faith.
Right.
And sometimes you have to look at the bigger picture. A lot of the times, it also comes down to family.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
That's what I said.
Right.
So you grow up in a certain church. You go to a specific venue. Your family is integrated into the system for years on end.
And correct me if I'm wrong, but like those families, those religious families, they say it takes a village. It becomes a village that helps your family. You become a huge community.
Right.
But then again, not a lot, and a lot of times you have to realize the older generation, which come before us, don't see it that way still, regardless of all the changes that occur. Right. And then it's kind of like, you know, they put the pressure on you. You know, we've been here 40, 50, 60 years attending this church, and you have this talent and you need to share it.
Right.
So it kind of becomes more, to me, and that's just me looking in from what I've seen occur, not any specific individual, you know, that I'm pointing out to, but it kind of falls on you. So it kind of becomes more of a duty to the family and the church. And I think people tend to, you know, they're willing to sacrifice certain conveniences to appease family. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, it's tough because I've seen it. I've seen it growing up. You know, I grew up in the Catholic faith, and you know,
so did I.
Same.
It's same thing, you know. And then we become what we call holiday Catholics, right?
Yeah.
We show up on Christmas Eve, on Easter.
You know, I grew up. I did a lot of, you know, confession, communion. I'm a Knight of Columbus. Did you know that?
Yeah, I did.
So it's like you do so much because you assume this is what my forefathers have done. My father was a big member of the church. My mother was. This is what I believe in. But as I got older and started learning more, and, you know, kind of
Loving yourself more.
loving myself more, because technically I didn't, quote unquote, come until I was 35.
Yeah.
Right.
I've known my whole fucking life I'm bisexual. You know what I mean? I was always conflicted, and the church played a big role on that.
Yeah.
So, you know, it's difficult to kind of move forward sometimes, just because you're trying not to ruffle feathers.
Yeah.
Right.
So it's weird, but it is what it is. Sometimes you just got to allow people, and a lot of people that we see that we feel conflicted for them choose to stay this way. You know?
Yeah, you know, honestly, I think it's interesting because in that podcast, I was talking about something. I can't remember exactly what it was, but basically, I feel as though there's so much intolerance, basically because people aren't educated. And I think if people were to take a step back and realize the moral of the story is we're celebrating Juneteenth, because not only do we need to uplift this community, but a lot of people within this community feel like they're restricted and they need support and love, and know that there's a huge community.
Right.
It's not just the community you grew up with.
But I will tell you this, though. So regardless of the fact that, we now have Juneteenth recognized as a federal holiday, it is also recognized as a holiday here in the state of Connecticut, officially.
Yeah, that's yeah. Go on.
Even though it's recognized, there are still systemic.
Problem, 100%.
There are still systemic things that are in place that exist to do anything other than just oppress Black and brown people. It's what it's designed to do, right? And so you start talking about doing advocacy about regarding systems that are in place to oppress people in other ways other than slavery, right? We know slavery ended in all but name, because you have all these institutional processes that are put in place to prevent, for example, people of color from buying in certain neighborhoods, right? Or people that are being sort of kind of like pushed out of neighborhoods because other people want to go in and do other things with it because the real estate might be profitable for them. Yes. We've seen this happen in Harlem a lot, right? Yeah. In where Black and brown people of Hispanic heritage that were largely occupying Harlem were pushed out because developers wanted to come in and. Well,
here's a prime example that a lot of people don't recall. Central Park was a huge African American community.
Yes.
Thriving, doing really well. Developers demolished the homes.
Because they wanted to build a park.
Yeah, because they wanted to build a park.
And they chose that neighborhood.
And they chose that neighborhood to demolish.
Right.
Yeah. So, it again, you have to see the struggles, and people don't realize that. Look at that area right now.
Even our own city has history. Yeah. So I'll tell you. So the
mall, yeah.
No, not the mall. So that 34 connector. There was an entire column of beautiful brownstones that lined that entire space, going from where the new Exelon building is all the way down to Exion, is it? Alexion. All the way down to the LT Grassa Boulevard was full of brownstones. People who largely occupied these brownstones were minorities.
Yeah, people of color.
They decided that they were going to go and take everything by eminent domain and demolish and build a highway that would go from I-95 and 91 all the way to 84. And guess what? They got to the end of the road there on LT Grassa Boulevard and did nothing else with it. And they took all of that land by eminent domain. Do you think that there were reparations for people who lost their valuable property in the middle of downtown New Haven for that? No. And now you have companies like, help me out here, Pfizer, who has a beautiful building on property that once belonged to people who were considered, low income and that had valuable property. Mm-hmm. Do you know how much those properties would sell nowadays? Millions.
Honestly,
yeah.
What bothers me about the whole thing is, one, people weren't compensated correctly.
Right.
And two, there's this fucking formula at every state that if you were to do exactly what you're talking about, okay, well, all right, you take down 3 homes, you have to, provide at least 35 or 25 low income housing in buildings that you put up.
Yeah.
Like it's crazy to me. It's like I'm going to take this from these people in low income neighborhoods, and then, but no, don't worry, I'll provide at least 25.
Yeah. So we'll displace 100% of the people that lived on this land, but we'll only occupy or allow them to occupy 20 or 30% of the new development that we're building.
And I sounds like we're slamming New Haven. New Haven's come a long way.
Oh, it has come a long way,
things
but
things were bad.
Yeah,
yes,
they were very bad.
Things were very bad, but New Haven has come a long way. I think that, you know, when it came to the projects by the train station,
the jungle,
which actually,
which is not the name. That unfortunately, that's when I moved to Connecticut from New York. That's how I was introduced to that area.
Yeah.
What's the name of that place again?
The jungle.
I was introduced to it by accidentally turning into it and getting pulled over by a cop and saying, "Get the fuck out of here."
Yeah.
But that area kind of bred a lot of gang activity because it was very low income.
Yep.
Right.
But what the city did, they did get rid of it. They demolished it. It's going to be something else. I'm not sure what yet. But they made sure that every single family in that complex was placed in an appropriate housing. Placed in appropriate housing. Right. So it wasn't just displaced, not, you know, they did right.
Well, they're doing right.
They did
now
right
because now there's a lot more people watching.
Yeah.
To an extent, right? Because for all of those low income people, they just had to cross the street to get on a train and go somewhere. Go to Bridgeport, go here, go there.
True.
Now where you're placed, now you have to catch additional cabs, additional Ubers, additional this. It was prime real estate. It's right next to one of the most iconic and one of the few, you know, buildings left that are part of, you know, the era of train transit, right? Union Station is a very beautiful station.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
It's prime real estate. And what they wanted to do was go in and have a development build so that, you know, you could have, you know, elite people that can live next to a train station.
I thought they wanted to build a mall.
You can't put a mall there.
Well, anyway, it doesn't matter.
Yeah, they've done the same thing in Bridgeport, down where Bass Pro Shops is at. That whole area.
Right.
One of Bridgeport's oldest and most well-known Spanish restaurants, La Familia, was there for years.
Decades.
That whole street, East Main Street, the beginning all the way down, lined with businesses. All that stuff was demoed. What lies there now? There's a Starbucks and a T-Mobile.
Yeah.
Right.
And then Bass Pro Shops. So they're still doing it, you know, in the guise of improvement and bringing in business. And they did all that because they were, at the time, Trump was interested in putting a building in that marina.
There's a term for that. And it escapes me right now. Gentrification. Thank you.
You're welcome.
It's taking valuable real estate from people who have, you know, always had access, right? Specifically low income people to, you know, get them out and build in its stead. So anyway,
actually, okay.
Yes.
In the end, the important thing that we're trying to bring to the forefront is the fact how important a national holiday like Juneteenth is for members of marginalized communities, especially the Black community, right?
But also how important it is to identify that there were a lot of Black queer activists that did a lot for our community.
Oh, of course.
Absolutely.
And still do every single day. I mean, when you think about, for example, people like Billy Porter, who are out there, you know, not only is he having an amazing time doing his tour right now, but this man has been at the forefront of fighting and being an activist day in, day out, right? You have other people that are part of the Black community that are doing amazing work as well. But having something like Juneteenth recognized nationally just helps the cause. It helps bring them one step closer to not having to deal with the shit that we've seen over the decades in this country. You know, this country has a problem, and it is by far not resolved. And there's a lot more work to do.
It's getting worse. What are you talking about?
Yeah, it's crazy and it's sad, but either way, I'm glad that it is a federal holiday. I'm glad that, you know, people of the Black community get to celebrate it and show us who they really are, and all the amazing. I watched the entire concert. There was a concert that was had in LA, and so on Juneteenth, you know, that evening, I watched the entire concert, and it was just amazing. SWV was there. You know, you've got a lot of gospel music and a lot of celebration. The national anthem at the beginning was just amazing, because there is a Black national anthem.
Yeah.
I don't know if a lot of people know that, but there is, and it's just absolutely gorgeous. And it was just utterly just moving, and SWV rocked, and he's like, oh, anyway. So yes. Thank you for, I think that led to a very beautiful, beautiful conversation.
Yeah. Excuse anything that I fucked up.
No, that's okay. You know, we're, you know, white people. I mean, some people perceive me to be white, and that's okay. Whatever you want me to be, I'll be.
We know.
So we can't, how would I say, represent the Black community, but we can certainly talk about it and make sure that people understand that it is important for them to be seen, to be valued, to be looked at as important, valuable members of all of our communities, and that have done amazing, great work over the course of centuries to be where we are today.
Correct. And technically, yes, we can represent that
in a small way.
As a Puerto Rican, that blood runs within our roots.
Yes, it does. Yes, it does.
So.
I will tell you though, that one person, you remember that one person that kept stalking me on Grindr that said, you know, you can't speak to this, and you can't do, you're white. You're a race. He kept telling me, like, you're a racist. I'm like, oh, okay, thanks, man.
Yeah, I remember that.
I don't know what to tell you. All right. So.
Good article, by the way.
It is.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah. Thank you.
Very in depth. Thank you for sharing.
You gotta start picking one or two things.
Oh, I'm just gonna skim over these things.
She's got a list
because these are good things. Okay, so Luke McFarland, if you guys all know, we talked about him last year. He is the star of the rom-com Bros, which I was kind of annoyed at. I watched the movie. I liked most of it, but some of it, like his whole
I like
straight acting thing was just like a little bit too much for me, but I understand that was a character. You know, so anyway, Luke McFarland's now a dad. So happy Father's Day to Luke McFarland. Yay.
Yep.
That better be adopted.
Hey,
is he straight?
You can't choose.
No, he's gay.
You can't.
Yeah, he's gay.
Yeah,
Oh,
hey.
so with his partner.
Yeah. So he's
you
a
can
new
get
dad.
it. You can get it,
Just
Daddy.
remember, you can't choose your dad, but you can always choose your daddy.
Oh, baby. Are you promising me a good time?
Those are honest words to live by.
All right. And then the other news story that I just wanted to highlight, which I think it's important, it comes to us from a sports perspective. Wrestler CM Punk, God, if that's your name.
Yes.
You better work. Stands up for trans kids from inside the ring. So after competing in his first match since September of 2022, All Elite wrestler star CM Punk used his platform to deliver a pro-pride message specifically in support of transgender kids. So
awesome.
Thank you for doing that. Snaps for him. Okay. Another story here that I thought was really amazing to mention. By the way, if you want to read some of these stories, you can go to theadvocate.com because they're posting, you know, most of the stuff that I looked up today for the show. Christian pastor stands up against the church for his gay son. A Christian Reformed Church pastor who has a gay son has spoken out against the denomination's decision to uphold its teachings against same-sex relationships and marriages. And, you know, I mentioned this before, you know, my grandmother was a very religious woman, but there was no doubt in my mind that she ever not supported me as a human and as a gay person and her children. And while there may have been conflict between her religion and her love always won. And I think that in this case, with this pastor, snaps for him.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. 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 Mm-hmm. Speak your mind.
So I don't know. I'm just sick and tired of seeing people come out as supportive after they have somebody in their family that's impacted. Like,
Valid.
you know, like, this is great. Great.
Right.
Super supportive of it. But we've seen historically so many politicians, pastors, or whomever come out in support of the LGBTQ community after their family is affected, which I get, because then you finally have a moment to like, oh, I need to educate myself. Fuck that. People, educate yourself now, because you shouldn't just be supporting a community because your family member is a part of it. You should be supporting a community because they're human and they're important.
A fucking man, girl. Claps for you. All right. Lastly. Oh, claps for her. Fingers. Point. Anyway, lastly, excuse me, let me start that again. The legislative body in the Baltic country of Estonia voted to legalize marriage equality on Tuesday by a vote of 55 to 34. The 101 seat. Oh, God. Rigogu. I'm assuming that's what they call their body of Congress. Amended the country's Family Law Act and other laws to legalize marriage equality for the first of the former Soviet satellite state to do so. The amended law is scheduled to go into effect on January 1st of 2024. Do that again. Ryajikogu.
I was doing the same thing as you. It
sounds like Grogu, like little Grogu from Star Wars. But anyway, those are the happy, feel good, to the exception of what he pointed out over here.
That's
stories.
my job, because you're being all Mr. Happy.
I want to be happy for Pride
And
Month.
I support that 100%, but I'm going to have to, like,
one more thing.
I don't have anything for on this day.
It's in there. Your computer just doesn't update.
Yeah, your computer's on a break.
Yeah. So
It's
Unless I updated the wrong
probably
notes.
349.
Yeah, no, that's right.
Okay.
Yeah, it's in there. All right, but anyway, that's all I have for our stories today. So make sure that, if you want to read those stories in full and get more information, go to theadvocate.com and check out all of the different stories that they have. There's a lot of sad stuff happening. I made a promise. Happy stuff for Pride Month. I'll go back to being a bitch come July 1st.
Can't wait.
Yay.
Anyway, that's all we have for you. So I'm going to go ahead and toss it over to my boys. Did you get your on this
I got
day?
it now.
Fabulous.
I guess I had to say something for the computer to catch up.
You got to be nasty to it. That's what it is. Trish, you're up. You want your left, girl?
All right, everybody. Here's Mama Kim's Minute. Number 1, Republicans don't have anywhere to eat this month. All of these chains celebrate Pride. Sorry, not sorry.
What do you mean they don't have anywhere to eat this month?
It's Pride Month, so a lot of the restaurants they normally visit have Pride event or Pride.
Oh,
Or they're donating to Pride.
Poor babies.
This is me caring.
Just go on Grindr and get your dick sucked. Get over it.
Number 2, Sesame Street has been celebrating Pride all month long, and it's adorable.
Oh.
Adorbs.
Number 3, out author Todd Parr wrote one of the most banned children's books. He still believes in kindness.
Well, you better work, Mr. Todd. J Bear, you're up.
Alrighty, on this day in gay history, brought to you by GayTalk 2.0, an LGBTQ podcast.
Got.com, but that's all right. I'll forgive you.
July 21st, the year was 2000 in the UK. Section 28, that a local authority shall not intentionally promote homosexuality or publish material with the intention of promoting homosexuality or promote the teaching in any maintained school of the acceptability of homosexuality as a pretended family relationship. This seems a little cut off. I feel like it's halfway.
So basically what it says is Section 28 states that the local authority shall not intentionally promote homosexuality or public materials. So basically,
Section 28 was repealed in Scotland.
That's correct.
That's what I missed. I'm sorry.
Okay, yes.
That would have made more sense before I started reading all
right, so before you couldn't...
You were not allowed to... Yeah.
Right.
To
talk about
intentionally
marriage
promote
equality.
homosexuality or
Right.
publish material with the intention of promoting.
Right. So that was repealed back in 2000. You better work, Scotland.
All right.
Interesting. Okay.
Nice. And we move on to our announcements.
Do you want to do them?
I'll take it.
Go for it.
If you love the show, make sure to subscribe, rate, and review on your favorite podcasting service. By subscribing, you get the latest and greatest of our show delivered right to your favorite device or web browser as soon as the episode is published. You can also support us on Patreon. With Patreon, you, our favorite listeners, can help to support the show with a pledged donation. The donations are collected monthly and can be in any denomination of $1 or more. Next week, we welcome Kyle Turner, author of The Queer Film Guide, 100 Great Movies That Tell LGBTQIA Plus Stories. The Queer Film Guide celebrates LGBTQIA Plus stories and artists, offering a fresh take on what defines great cinema.
You said it wrong.
What?
Legitimate. Yes.
Don't forget to check out our episodes. We have...
No,
that's not me.
I was trying to write it.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, your computer's updating stuff. So, lastly, unless you want to take it,
It says,
You
don't
want me
forget to check out
All right,
the
well,
episode.
don't forget to check
Yeah.
out the episode that Nick Bussett was on for the This Queer Book Saved My Life. All of the episodes for the season are available now, and you can go on iTunes, on all of the major podcast streaming platforms, and download those episodes and get to listen to our dear Trish talk a little bit about what it was that changed her life, that saved her life. What all this experience.
well, that was you
Yeah.
and Jay. I'm not going to say it was Chris.
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, no, Chris too.
Yeah, Chris too. So definitely check out the episode. I think
Gangley.
it's amazing.
Yep, thisqueerbook.com is the website.
As if, you weren't tired of listening to her voice here. Now you can get to go listen to her somewhere else.
Literally.
100%.
Sorry, not sorry. Good luck, everybody else.
Trish, darling.
All right, everybody. Don't forget, you got to get the Future Method today. All other products. All products are doctor developed. You can clean out without hurting your bum. Take confidence anywhere with the anal powder packs, and now increase your stretch goals with the 3-piece anal glass dilation kit. Visit futuremethod.com to purchase your life-changing bum accessories today.
Yes, Queen. Jay Bird.
And as always, it is time to put a ring on it. Our show is available on our website, GayTalk2.0 under audio podcast. It is also available as a free download on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, and Stitcher Radio, Nick.
All right. You can find us on social media, Facebook, GayTalk 2.0, Instagram, GayTalk 2.0. Email us at GayTalk 2.0 at GayTalk20.com. Tom, do better than me.
Oh, Lord have mercy. And if you need to reach out to us, just head on over to our website, click on the Contact Us tab. There you can leave comments, suggest topics, submit a question for the cast or an individual host. You can also call us and leave us your questions via voice message. We can answer those for you on the show if you'd like. All you have to do is just dial 334-GAY-TALK. And if you need all those digits, it is 334-429-4255. 8255. Oh my God, you're going to call somebody in Alabama. Don't do it. Let me repeat that number. 334-429-8255. And, all that is left to say is that don't forget that we do stream live currently on Wednesdays. We're looking to change to Mondays again for the summer, starting with the first episode on July 10th. Is that correct?
That's correct.
And then we'll do that
we're
for the
gonna-
summer
We're
months.
going to celebrate my birthday
Oh, is it your birthday? Will you not be here?
the day before.
Oh, the day before. So we'll celebrate your birthday here. Yes,
Yeah.
we'll do that because you're July 9th.
Yes.
Okay. So starting July 10th, we'll go back to our Monday schedule at 6 p.m. for the remainder of the summer. And then in September, we'll come back to Wednesdays. I know it's confusing and I apologize for all of you listeners, but, bear with us. We're trying to navigate, having fun and recording the podcast and doing all the things that we need to do.
Yeah, life.
But in either case, whatever happens, we will make sure that you're notified and you can access the live stream by visiting gaytalk20.com/live. live stream. I love you all. I want to wish you all a happy Pride. And thank you so much, guys. I hope that you all have a wonderful night. Bye.
Thank you for listening to this episode of GayTalk 2.0. Tune in next time for more Dish.